All right, next up, we have a panel. This is a panel, I'd like to welcome Daniel Nicolescu, Dana Pavel, and Richard Banič on a panel on customer support for your app success, how customer support teams can drive app metrics and profit. So welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And again, like just a reminder to the audience, just like everyone's been doing such a great job this entire track, is drop questions into the Q&A during the panel. So thank you. It's all yours.
Cool. Well, to get started, I'm going to share some slides. I'll be the moderator for today's session. And we also have some questions between us, basically. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Daniel, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. It's going to be about how customer support teams drive app metrics and profit. Today's presentation is actually a joint effort between AppFollow and our partners and friends from 10 Square Games and Pixel Federation. To get started, let's know a little bit more about the panelists, starting with myself. So I'm a senior customer success manager at AppFollow. My role basically is to help customers use the platform and reap the benefits from using AppFollow. I've worked in sales and customer success previously, helped grow the ARR of multiple companies, and also helped change the company culture in one of my previous experiences when it came to software security. I'm joined from the AppFollow side by Dana, who is my colleague. She's also a senior customer success manager with 5 years of experience in the IT industry, especially with gaming and SaaS companies. Dana is very passionate about customer success. She looks for the latest trends and topics, and she embeds that kind of knowledge and helps improve processes wherever she works. Then we have our partners, Greg from 10 Square Games, whose role is as a head of communication and customer care. So Greg has been with 10 Square Games for over 8 years now. He built basically the customer service department. And he also oversees gaming service operations like VIP support, localization, social media, and outsourcing. And last but not least, we have Richard. Sorry about that. We have Richard from Pixel Federation, who is a senior community manager. He's been working with the company for over 5 years and solely with the gaming industry. Now, moving on, I've been talking about AppFollow, but for those of you who don't know what or who AppFollow is, we're basically an app management platform. We really take pride of being an all-in-one solution. And for starters, we fit multiple purposes, and one would be, for instance, app monitoring. This means that through AppFollow, you can track ratings, review ratings, downloads, in-app purchases. You can do that via our various dashboards and reporting mechanisms. Then very importantly, we have a review processing module, which basically implies analyzing reviews, gaining insights from those, but very importantly, responding to user feedback. You can respond to user feedback either via AppFollow directly or through help desk systems that integrate very easily with our platform. Last but not least, we also have an ASO module, which is relevant for marketing. ASO stands for App Store Optimization, and it revolves around keywords. So basically, helping the visibility of your app, increase the visibility of your app and the conversion rate. Our platform integrates with multiple stores, app stores, so the App Store, Google Play, Amazon, and others. AppFollow is trusted by over 70,000 companies worldwide, and you can see a few of the logos right here on screen of gaming companies especially. And as a company right now, we're a little over 80 employees spread across over 10 countries, and we're in the process of hiring more and more people in various regions just to add that kind of multicultural flavor to our business. Now, for today's session, we'll be looking at the review processing section, which means analyzing reviews, responding to those, and gaining those metrics. But at the end of the day, you get your reviews, you see them either in the App Store or Google Play, or you see them in AppFollow. Why would you respond to those? Why would you waste your time in answering the user feedback? Well, it's not only us at AppFollow who believe in the benefits of doing this, but it's also Apple, for instance, who say that asking for ratings and in-app prompts, responding to reviews ultimately will lead to improving the visibility of the app, increasing the number of downloads, and helping building that connection with the community, which is very important. Their main competitor, Google, believes the same thing. So back in 2019, they estimated that roughly 100,000 reviews get a response from developers in the Google Play console daily. And people that update their review do that in average by increasing the rating by plus 0.7, which is a staggering number. Now, this all sounds fine and dandy, right? You respond to reviews, but how do you do that? Or how do you tackle the different scenarios? Because people tend to complain about different things. So let's take one of the most common examples is responding to a negative review. We consider negative reviews to be between 1 and 3 stars. Some other people consider negative reviews to be between 1 and 2 stars. The idea is to respond to these effectively. Effectively means acknowledging the user's problem, giving them guidance if you can on the spot by responding to the review. If not, you can always redirect them to a generic email address, which is handled by the support team. That way you can, dig a little bit deeper into the root cause of the problem, but also you can get those contact details of the users, which is important for certain customers who want to build this kind of like customer journeys. And also, if it's a fix or a bug that can be addressed in a future update, never hesitate to relay that information back to the customer and to the user and tell them, look, we're going to address this. We know your problem. We're going to address it in a future update. These kind of answers usually are appreciated by users, and they ultimately will come back and improve the rating of the review. Over bigger samples, the more reviews get an improved rating. Ultimately, over bigger batches of reviews, these will impact the overall rating of the app. And this goes without saying as a key metric. We know that higher ranked apps with higher ratings have a bigger chance of getting higher up in the rankings. If you hit that 4.0, for instance, you can get featured. So this will hence bring a lot of downloads for apps, new users, subscriptions, in-app purchases, money, whatnot. We all basically do this on a day-to-day basis. Whether we're buying a car, a kitchen appliance, we're booking a hotel, even now during COVID times, we're still looking at reviews, ratings before we actually make a decision. Now, for people that don't know how to tackle these kind of situations, how to respond to reviews optimally, we're in the process of launching a Review Management Academy, which is free of charge, available for everybody. And Donna will be talking about this in a little more detail.
Sure. Thank you, Daniel. And hi, everyone. Really excited to be on this panel. Yeah, I mean, managing reviews, replying to reviews is not an easy job. And we got you covered with the Review Management Academy. It's going to be launched very soon. And what is going to be, in a nutshell, is a collection of articles on how to work with app ratings and reviews. Our main goal with this project is to arm the teams responsible for reviews with the necessary knowledge to manage them successfully and efficiently. So the platform targets primarily support teams and community teams who, besides working with tickets or other social media feedback on a regular basis, they also have to reply to app reviews from Google Play, App Store, or other sources. We'll be sharing best practices for how to set up KPIs around this work and how to measure them effectively. But also, very importantly, how to automate replying to reviews with the goal of saving time and financial resources. Of course, we know that support teams and community management teams are not the only ones monitoring reviews, reading reviews and working with them. So some of the articles will be targeted to product managers, for example, and marketing managers, who will find knowledge around why it's important to work with ratings and reviews in the first place, but also what performance metrics they affect and just in general, what insights they can extract from them. So yeah, definitely a lot of exciting content coming up. It's going to be launched very, very soon, so do stick around for updates on LinkedIn or other social media where AppFollow is. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. And now to share their stories and the actual metrics that they've they've had by replying to reviews, by processing reviews. We have Greg from 10 Square Games.
Thank you, Daniel. A pleasure being here. Maybe first of all, please allow me to tell you a little about our company. 10 Square Games is one of the biggest free-to-play development studios in Poland. We mainly specialize in outdoor simulations, simulator games. One of our most popular titles is Fishing Clash, which ranked like top 40 some time ago on Google Play. So quite high. We have almost above now 400 employees in 4 studios in Poland, Berlin, and Romania. And like from 3 years, we are on the Warsaw Stock Exchange, and from that time, we are like growing rapidly. So please allow me to share you our case regarding the reviews, because it was like quite an adventure for us. So the main thing we wanted to solve was to fully automate the online reviews management for our products. We started with Hunting Clash, one of our games, which is a hunting simulator. It had its global launch last year. And the problems we were facing were as follows. Like we needed like to assign additional agents in order to handle the reviews, because like they were arriving constantly. In case of issues, they were peaking, so we need to throw more and more resources at it. The problem was that also there was a poor effectiveness in like rating conversions. Like we actually didn't saw any difference between automated reviews and custom reviews that were the responses from the agents. Like there were no difference in that. And also we had some localizational issues. Some time ago, we only supported 2 languages, and in order for reviews to be most effective, it required time and extra resources to provide translations. And this like stretched the response time longer and longer. So the actions we took, thanks to AppFollow, it was like we fully automated the responses and localized them for almost for all of our languages that we supported within the game. It actually reduced costs because you only have a single person who is assigned to that task. And the setup is easy. All you need to do is to prepare some templates. Some custom templates are required for specific problems, specific issues. And it requires limited moderation. As our products are constantly being updated from time to time, we also need to update our templates, but this takes actually less time, less man hours than we would do the same with dedicated agents to that process. And now maybe some more on the benefits. First of all, like the impact of reviews for app performance and possible featurings. You need to be aware, like in our case, precisely that users think of reviews as another way to communicate with your support team, as another channel that you will actually try to help them there. And in case of issues, problems, there can be a spike of negative reviews. We experience it from time to time. And like in support, players also like they expect the fastest answers possible. So thanks to the automations, you can give them like instantaneous responses, which is, first of all, like it actually raises the chance that they will change the response from negative to a positive one. Second of all, like most reviews work, they are connected to the user's emails, and usually when the user once posts a response, there is a very low chance he will actually see the notification that you responded and like will take any action whatsoever. So this actually helps. And as for the possible featurings, of course, the quality of the response is also important as you try to build, a community with your player base and like build your image as a company. But you need to be aware that it is more important to actually give a response whatsoever than like give even an accurate one. But I don't encourage that. Like stores don't check the comments like by themselves. Each and every one, they only check if there was a percent of how big is the percentages of the responses. And thanks to automations, you can actually respond to each and every review you get. As for adding new products for early score management and user feedback, this is, I don't know if this is unique for us, but we experienced it several times. The fastest way to get the feedback from players and the fastest way to get early feedback and feedback, any feedback, is via the reviews. And if you funnel the users, if you like inform them, it's great that you talked with us, it's great that you're written about our product, but how about visit our FAQ basis, our support channels, and we will help you there in faster and in a better way. For new products, it's also important to get the feedback, of course, to the product team so they can react accordingly. But also, it's I would say, a learning process for the player base. And like the actual like benefit that we received from this case study was like we improved our review score by 0.71 points for Hunting Clash. Of course, it was only for reviews, but nevertheless, it's still quite a significant number. And you need to be aware that the higher your score is, the bigger the chance for, of course, your app being noticed, and the bigger chance for possible featurings. Also, this last but not least, of course, the AppFollow interface is very user-friendly, which is important as it also limits the time you need to spend on managing it. And it's far more intuitive than most panels for the main platforms you can get. Okay, thank you for listening. That's all from my side, and over to Richard.
We're passing this over to Richard to share his story from the Pixel Federation perspective.
So thank you for the invitation, Daniel and Dana, and thank you for your presentation, Greg. We have a very similar experience at Pixel Federation, like Greg has described. And first of all, I would like to take the time to present our company so you can have a better feeling for what we were dealing with during our issues. And so our company is rooted in the capital of Slovakia, in Bratislava, and was founded by 4 game enthusiasts in 2007. And thus comes our motto also from players to players. So we are currently also expanding our offices to Czech Republic, to Brno. And even though our company is still growing, we are still priding ourselves on developing our games and publishing for our community-based games. And we are very active and try to listen to our communities at every step of our development process while working on our games. So if a player chooses to play one of our games, they can either encounter some of our mythical beings in my heart's favorite Diggy's Adventure, or build a railway empire in Train Station 2, or manage a fleet with Seaport, or many more adventures within our games. And we are a little bit smaller company than my colleague Greg here, but we have 150 great people and professionals that are working for our firm. So we have started out as a Facebook game development company, and we're used to having our player base located also on Facebook and in all of the Facebook groups connected with our games. And since we've moved on to a mobile publisher and a mobile game company, we have encountered our games and our communities moving on to the App Store review sections, also using these as a communication channel, and thus shifted our focus on working with the reviews themselves. So as a smaller team of 15 community managers dealing with the daily ticket load and also tending to our communities, this additional task of, as you can see, 5 to 10K reviews a month has been a challenge for us. And we were looking into being more effective and from a managerial standpoint, using our manpower resources even more effective, but also staying true to our motto, like I said, from players to players, tending to the issues of all of our players, and wanted to give all of them replies. So as you can imagine, we had a lot of prolonged review replies in some of the cases, and since some of the issues could have been solved in an instant matter, some of the players may have been discouraged by, let's say, the early starts of a game where they perhaps didn't understand the game mechanic, or have been simply encountered a short-term bug, which could have been explained in a very short answer or a short manner. So we thought we were losing some of our audience members in this way. And that's why we have been in contact with Daniel and his team, and we're looking into the automation process itself. So what we have achieved during our half-year work together with the team at AppFollow was that we were able to automate the common issues that were located in the reviews themselves. And currently we are automating only 61% of all the reviews, so not as full as Greg was describing. But since we are present in 3 app stores, we can now tend to all of the reviews via the integration feature in our help desk. So that means we are able to see the whole scale or the whole scope of all of the user feedback in one place. Also, from a managerial standpoint, we are able to track the workload that would be placed on each of our colleagues, each of our community managers, and also apply some of the KPIs that we are able to do within the ticketing tasks of our colleagues. And during the analysis of the reviews, which has been, again, much easier, given that we can find them under one roof, was that we were able to detect that a lot of players have been submitting positive reviews, which we discovered thanks to the features that have pointed this out to us, and we were receiving a lot of positive reviews in text, but they were in fact only 1 to 3 stars reviews. So given that we could identify these, we have also addressed these with our players and have found that they have indeed changed their reviews in many of the cases. Also, what Greg has pointed out that since we are developing a lot of new games, the day one following of all of the reviews on our apps is of vital importance, and have found that a lot of players tend to use the platform of sending us feedback via the reviews more often than they do via the tickets. And thus we were able to react more swiftly to any issues that they were having. not necessarily on a technical level, but maybe perhaps understanding of some of the game features, and which we were then able to address. And within the starts of each app, this could majorly affect the overall app rating and the visibility of an app, and perhaps even show in the early development of the game. So when we see one of our use cases, we have looked into the dashboards of the tool and could see that in the reviews updated as a result of a reply, there have been an increase of the star ratings. This slide which Daniel is showing is a specific case where we have an increase of 1.6 star, or the rating is increased by 1.6 in the replies that have been updated thanks to our replies. So the reviews that have been updated thanks to our replies. In this case, we have tackled with the rating going lower than 4 stars, and thus the app wasn't eligible for a feature. And thanks to the decline, thanks to the app which has pointed out the decline of the stars, we were actually able to find out that we had the rating prompt in our game wasn't functioning at the time. So our community managers did a splendid job and covered this lack of this feature with their hard work. So what I would like to end with is our 2 point of views, perhaps, others than the business side of the solving the reviews, is that the section or the panel that customer player sees the first time is the profile of the game on the App Store. And having seen that all of the reviews of our players are being attended to, gives positive encouragement, and also the overall rating is affected by the replies of the reviews. And of course, we would like to honor the hard work of our game designers and all of our colleagues with having an objective rating for our app, so that their work is acknowledged in the App Store. So this would be my takeaway, and I give the word back to Daniel, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Richard, for your input. Now, I do have a couple of questions. The first one is actually for Greg and you. What are the things that you have to take into consideration? Maybe, the full spectrum when it comes to responding to reviews from your experience.
Richard?
Yes, so first of all, when we didn't have perhaps the automation feature, or we haven't thought about the automation feature yet, we had to make a tough choice of using our time more effectively and have only attended to the negative reviews to have a full impact on our overall rating. But since we wanted to attend to all of our players' needs, we chose the automation route. So this was one of our biggest challenges so far. And if I may add, currently we are fighting with let's say the thought of how much we would want to automate the process and which part of the replying we would like to keep manually and have still a personal touch at the end of the day.
Perfect, thank you. Have you considered, for instance, looking at what competitors do? Have you tried that angle?
Could I answer that?
Yeah.
And yes, we are trying to monitor our competitors, especially like if we see a dip in the amount of negative reviews, we can then backtrack and check if they had any updates, like how maybe that's an information for us how the features could be performing. This can also be in use for us, and overall, like, see how the competition is doing as an entire group, like for specific genres, like for sports games, for instance. So this is also useful, and I highly recommend that.
Perfect, sounds good. Last but not least, I have a question for Dana. Being that you're a CSM for so many customers, having a large portfolio, what are the latest market trends when it comes to working with reviews?
Sure. So I think particularly for the games industry, right? There's definitely more and more games being created. I think as long as investors are on the lookout for the next interesting project, new titles will continue to appear. As a result of that, what we see is that app developers are spending more and more on user acquisition. At the same time, what I noticed is there's a lot of acquisitions and mergers going on, especially with the bigger studios, which is a dynamic so typical of the games industry, not just for mobile games, but also for the rest of the industry. So I think these factors definitely lead to an overload for the support teams who have to handle the communication with an increasing number of users in both tickets and across media platforms and Google Play, App Store, etc. So I think from this perspective, automation will definitely play a key role for these teams because they will most likely be prompted to manage the workload without spending too much, if that makes sense.
Perfect. For now, for presentation, pretty much that wraps it up. We're open for questions now if we have any. Well, I guess that wraps it up for our side. You can always reach out to us either to the email address that you see here on screen from our support team, but also reach out to us whenever we can create a Discord or anything. We're open to questions and suggestions. All of us actually can give their advice from our experiences, whether from an AppFollow perspective or from a gaming company perspective when it comes to working with reviews.
So I guess thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye.